Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be talking about how do you factor out monomials from, we'll say, algebraic expressions, so similar to this problem that you see up on the screen. Just a reminder, this is the short version, so we're going to go pretty quickly just through the main ideas. If you would like the full length lesson, I will link that in the description below. Just a reminder that before attempting this lesson, you should already know about the distributive property. If you'd like a refresher on that, I will also link that in the description. All right, so here's a problem, and it wants us to factor this. So when we talk about factor, what we're looking for is the greatest common factor, right? And so the easiest way to do this is, let's look at 12 and 21 first, right? Those are the coefficients. So I like to teach them with factor tables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you just divide. 12 divided by 1 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is a decimal, don't use it. Nope, just kidding. 12 divided by 2 is not a decimal, it's 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And now you can actually stop, because 12 divided by 4 is just going to give me 3, and 3, 4, and 4, 3 are the same factor pair, just reversed. And so we don't need to do anything past this because we have all the factors. 21 divided by 1 is 21. 21 divided by 2 is a decimal, so we're not going to use it. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Decimal, 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 and 7 is already on the list, so we're done. Now, out of these lists, again, we're looking for greatest common factor. What is the greatest factor that is on both lists? And the answer to that is 3. There's a 3 here and a 3 here. Could be on either side, that doesn't matter. So we know we're going to use the 3. And now we look at the variables here. So we have n to the 5th. So here is 5 n's. N to the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we need to pair them. So this is a pair, this is a pair, this is a pair, this is a pair. And there are no more pairs, right? Because this last n can't be paired. So our greatest common factor is 3n to the 4th, right? Because we had 4 pairs down here. So the way we write our answer, 3n to the 4th parentheses. And now we divide. 12 divided by 3 is 4, right? That's what's left on the list over here. And you are taking out this n to the 4th. So you started with n to the 5th, you take away 4 of them, you're left with n to the 1st power, or just n. Now we do the same process over here. 21 divided by the 3 gives me 7, right? That's what's left on the list. And we started with n to the 4th, we took out n to the 4th, so now there are no n's left. This is our final answer. You can check this with the distributive property, because if you multiply back in, you would end up with 12n to the 5th minus 21n to the 4th. And notice that's exactly the problem that we started with. All right? So if you want to check your answer, you can always do the distributive property. Think of it as 4 quarters and $1 are the same, but they look different. This is what's going on, right? These look different, but they're just rewritten. We haven't added or subtracted anything. All right, for these longer problems, we need some shortcuts. All right, and here are some shortcuts. For the coefficients, look at the lowest coefficient. Lowest big number is 9. And go ahead and do the factors of 9. So that would be 1, 9, 2 doesn't work, 3 and 3. These are repeats, so we're done. And now you look at these numbers and you say which one goes into the other coefficients, the other big numbers. And you want the biggest one, right? Because yes, 1 would work, yes, 3 would work, but yes, 9 would work too. And you want the biggest of those. So the 9 is, so we know we're going to factor out a 9. And now for the variables, you want to look at the lowest exponent, the lowest. So you've got 10, 7, 5, and the lowest exponent is 1. So the lowest exponent is the most that can be taken out of all of them, right? So I'm going to take 1y from all of them. And so now we start a parentheses. So again, 18 divided by 9 is 2. We had y to the 10th, and we took 1y out, right? Y to the 1 is what we're taking out. So now we have y to the 9th. And now we repeat the process. 27 divided by 9 is 3. We take 1y away from the 7. That gives us y to the 6th. And so on down the line. 9 divided by 9 is 1. y to the 4th minus 5. And for this last one, right, it was y to the 1st. We took a y away, so there is no y on the last term. Close the parentheses, and we are done. The only other thing I would add is that normally we don't write this 1 in the front, so this would probably be a cleaned up version. But you can write the 1 if you want. Okay. All right, and for this last type of problem, which looks complicated, but we're still going to follow the same rules. So let's look at the lowest coefficient, which is 16. Make our factor tree, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 3 is a decimal, 4 and 4, and we're done because that repeats. And then we look for the lowest g, lowest h, right? Lowest g power is to the 5th power, and lowest h power is h to the 3rd. So we are, and for the coefficients, this 16 actually divides all of them. So we're taking out 16 g to the 5th, h to the 3rd. Now we start a parentheses. And what is still on the inside? Well, this is going to be g to the 5th, and that's it, minus 2 g to the 4th plus, and this is just h, right? Plus h. And this is our final answer. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 3 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, you should have gotten 6a to the 7th, parentheses 7a cubed minus a squared plus 3a minus 1. For the second problem, you should have gotten 14k cubed mn squared, parentheses km to the 6th minus 1. And now the last problem might have seemed a little tricky, because it is. The lowest coefficient is 2, so you should have started, okay, what are the factors of 2? 1 and 2. 2 does not go into 25, it doesn't go into 37. So the greatest common factor is 1, and then how many p's are in all of these terms? What's the lowest p in all of them? Well, there are no p's in this end term, or this end part, so we can't take any p's, and it's the same for the q's and the same for the r's. So really the only factor is a 1, and so when the greatest common factor is 1, how the problem starts is actually your answer, that you can't factor this. All right, we're just going to sort of leave it as it is. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.